We put on Battle Flare, we pop both of our potions, and we become a lawnmower. Why is my clone cleaving like that, though? I don't know if that's just a visual bug, or if it's an actual cleave range. It looks hilarious, whatever it is. Hello everyone, and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing off sort of a roguelike MOBA PvE mix. It is roguelike-esque, but you have fixed seeds on your runs. Sort of. So we'll go ahead and explain things right now. Ages are a difficulty system. The more ages you go through, it adds some extra mechanics and extra HP and damage scaling for the enemies. But also, every time you progress to a new age, or you hit this reroll button here, you will get a brand new randomly generated map with different bosses, different enemy jungle camps, and different buildings as well. So this is something to keep in mind. If you lose a run on the same age, you will have the exact same map that you had last time. It's important to remember that. Distortions are also an additional modifier you can turn on. The first time you do distortions at max, you'll get bonus currency to level up your heroes. Other than that, it's just a little bit of extra meta progression. I'm going to leave it off because it's kind of annoying to play around when there's not really much of a reason to. I'm not really going to care too much about like max difficulty runs or anything. I just want to have fun, teach people the game, and do some builds. So you have a bunch of different main heroes you can pick from, same as any MOBA or any game really. And then you have essences. If you play League of Legends, this would be most similar to summoner spells. Any of the heroes can use any of the spells here, and they also come with their passive. So we're going with Frost and Fire here. And then all of the different elements have their own skills you can pick from. You pick up to 3 in battle. And then also, as you level up your hero and get some of the meta progression, you'll be able to take passives into the run with you, up to 3 at a time. Passives and skills are unlocked as you get extra levels during the run. So, one major thing to address right away before we get into the run. This game has some pretty big issues with multiplayer progression that I know have turned a lot of people off from the game. Basically how it works right now is that the lobby is set to the host's save file. So everyone in the multiplayer lobby will have the same meta progression, the same heroes and everything, which I think is okay for the most part. There are still some issues with it, but where people have the most issue with is the currency that you unlock while playing multiplayer as a non-host doesn't transfer back to your single player. This is something they are addressing though, so if you're someone who wanted this game for the multiplayer, and that's a hard no for you right now, totally understandable. But they have confirmed that they're addressing it and trying to fix it. So consider coming back maybe in a couple weeks, or just paying attention to the Discord for when new info comes out. But anyways, since this is my first time showing off this game, I'm going to kind of treat this video as almost like a basic tutorial. I'm going to be explaining everything about the game for people that are new to it, or people that have never seen the game that are coming here from my other games. You have a lane, like you would if you've ever played a MOBA. This is basically a single-player MOBA. You have one big, long main lane that you have your own troops and enemy troops that will run down. You don't want the enemy troops to get to your main base here and kill it, but to stop them, you can upgrade your own troops, or you can make your own towers. One thing, too, with towers is that, for one, here's a neat little trick you can do. Look for enemy jungle camps that are near your towers, and you can lure them into your tower range. Have them help you clear the camp. This is something really important for both these small lane waves and jungle camps. Even if your tower gets a kill, you get full EXP. So catching this wave here is actually, like, really important to get to level 2 as fast as possible. You'll get a lot more EXP from a lane wave than you will from jungle camps, especially because you're so weak early on that you don't really clear jungle camps that quickly. Speaking of jungle camps, these are jungle camps out here. If you played a MOBA, again, this is something you'll recognize. If you haven't played a MOBA, it's just extra minions you can clear. In this game, you have to watch out for jungle camps. So let me pause the game here for a second. By default, it's left alt. If that doesn't work for you, there's also a button you can click down here. Did I double click? What is going on? Maybe it's because I don't know what's going on. I think it's because I clicked it while the game was paused. But anyways, you see now I have an auto attack indication. This blue ring is how far I can attack to. But there's also this purple line here. This is jungle aggro range. So if I walk outside, the jungle camps will lose their aggro on me. I'll just show that off. So now they just stop fighting and they go back to their base. But also, something you have to pay attention to is that your main source of economy in this game is miners. You'll have gold mines, you start out with one, and you can get additional ones by clearing the minions that block it, basically. But what you have to watch out for is that jungle camps can be in aggro range of where your miners are walking. Let me think about this real quick. I don't want either of these. I don't want to waste the uncommon, but at the same time, I would really rather save my rerolls for later. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about is that, for example, these dirt paths are where miners will go down. You can see that right here, the miner path was right next to a jungle camp here. If I don't kill that jungle camp, it will constantly keep killing the miners. This one is too. So there's a miner path right here. If I don't kill these, then I basically have no economy for the rest of the run. Potions in this game are different stat boost based on what kind of potion you pick up. And you find the potions by finding flowers randomly around the map. So right now with the red potion, it will increase my auto attack damage. Potions aren't just like healing an MP like they would be in some other games. But anyways, you can find some of these No. Not shat shards. Stat shards. You can find them, some of them for free, randomly around the map. Other ones you have to do jungle camps to get. They'll give you either amplifiers and then more amplifiers, or they'll give you a basic stat plus amplifiers. The amplifiers will always be at the bottom here, but then sometimes you can get more just as a base effect too. So here we can get our amplifiers, attack speed, or HP. We are going for blue amplifiers, or arcane amplifiers. I do want attack speed at some point, but the common shards aren't really going to give that much for attack speed. So that brings us into the next thing to explain. So to go back to like a League of Legends example again, in League of Legends you have something like attack damage or ability power, which will scale your abilities. In this game it works a lot differently. Your basic attacks and your second ability will always use basic attack damage and crit. Your other abilities cannot crit at all, besides basic attack, and the ability will also say Power Strike on it. It's a little weird. I feel like the hitboxes for trying to mouse over these are weird. Like, look at this. My mouse is all the way over here, and it's not on the second ability yet. But anyways, your Power Strike always scales with attack damage. I don't know if I can actually do this camp yet. This camp is a little strong for me right now. Picking up attack range is going to be really important for the build I'm going to be showing off this run. Also, what I should have done earlier on is pick up the Siege Workshop and get the transport carts. The transport carts will make the miners carry more gold, so it's a very important economy upgrade. And then another one of the mechanics is wisdom trees. These are very important. By default, you will have one guaranteed at your base down here. With distortions, those can get removed, and you'll have to find one out somewhere in the jungle. Always, 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 always save one of these wisdom trees for when nighttime comes. Because the wisdom tree is going to double your experience gain. And the night wave that comes is going to give you way, way more EXP than you would get if you use that wisdom tree on a bunch of jungle camps. Maybe late game, if you're clearing out jungle camps real quickly, it might be worth it to use the EXP boost there. Or if you know where two of them are, you can definitely use one of them on jungle camps. But early on, you always want to save a tree for the night wave if you don't know the location of more than one of them. And now we can see the night wave. During the day, just small waves keep attacking, but at night, there is one big wave that you have to take care of. Always make sure you get back to your lane and start dealing with these as soon as possible. And then, I think I mentioned this, but making two towers near each other puts up a gate here that acts as a wall to block them off. Having one of these walls is very important before the first night comes through. And then as you progress to later nights, you want to get more and more of these walls set up. But first night's going to be pretty easy to deal with, even on difficulty 10. Martial balance is really, really broken. There's going to be some things I'm not going to take. I'm going to try as much as I can to avoid. Because some things are really busted right now. Which I think is fine to some degree. But some things are overtuned to the point of right now where max difficulty, if you know what you're doing, is not difficult in the slightest. I could probably do a max difficulty run within like 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe even faster, depending on what I decide to abuse. I hope they nerf some things, but it's hard with single-player games like this. You have to find a balance about not, like, nerfing the fun out of the builds, but also just, like, reducing some of their raw power to a degree of where... like, the difficulty doesn't become meaningless. But I don't know, there's always two sides to the argument for single-player games being nerfed. Because it's like, on one hand, just don't use what's overpowered if you don't like it. I totally understand that statement. But for me, there's another thing too of... if clearing max difficulty in the game is not an achievement, then why do it at all? Again, clearing max difficulty on your own terms could be like a personal achievement, but I would rather have it be something that is difficult to do, and not just anyone can do it if they know how to cheese the game. I think things are just a little too cheesy right now, basically. One of the big problems is that Burn and Thunder as a debuff do 1% max health damage. So if you stack both Burn and Thunder, or even just have one of them on the boss will always die in the same time frame, regardless of you're on difficulty 0 or difficulty 20, which I don't think is okay. I think the later bosses need to become more and more resistant to percent health effects, which they can easily do, because that's how resistances basically work in this game. If they give bosses more and more resistances, then the damage over time effects will do less damage. Though, that might not actually be a viable solution now that I think about it, though. Because, like, for example, if bosses just have a bunch of base fire resistance to deal with the debuff, then also anything that just deals base fire damage becomes worse at high difficulty. I didn't think about that one. But yeah, that's really not a viable solution now that I think about it a little bit more. They would just have to have, like, some percent health reduction stat. I don't think giving bosses HP regen to counter the percent health damage is a good idea either, because then bosses can easily just become a DPS check if the HP regen is overtuned. The HP regen would have to be strong enough to counter the percent health, but then if it's that strong, then any build that you put against a boss has to be as strong as percent health damage. Which at that point, why not just nerf the percent health somehow? Either directly nerf it, or give, like I said, give higher end bosses some resistance to it. Anyways, I'm yapping way too much about that. I don't think I got into explaining it before, but in some games, like League of Legends, for example, you will have like attack damage or ability power to scale your abilities. In this game, you actually have 4 different scaling things, which are the amplifiers down here. Amplifiers do not give you any base stats at all. So, for example, like the 11 arcane amplifiers I have don't do anything on their own. They're only used for skills that specifically say they scale with arcane amplifiers. The way you get more amplifiers is by clearing jungle camps and getting their stat orbs, or by visiting these things around the map called Altar of Power. Altar of Power will take HP in order to reroll into different stats, and it will also take HP in order to pick it up. So, you have to be a little bit careful when getting them and re-rolling them too heavily, but they respawn at the start of every day, so you want to make sure you are picking them up consistently, though. Picking them up early doesn't matter as much if you miss them early. Their effectiveness scales with the amount of days that have passed, so the more days that have passed, the more effective they'll be. I can't take this, actually. I'm gonna have to get... You can visit these healing fountains to either fully heal or pick up permanent HP regen. I don't like having to pass up on the regen, but there's not really another option I could do here otherwise. And then I think I'll run up here real quick as well. This is a Fate Shrine. It gives you something called Fate Armor permanently. Or it gives you 1 stack of Fate Armor permanently and restores you back up to max stacks of Fate Armor. That's a better way of saying it. Fate Armor is an additional shield that will completely block 1 hit of damage. Wow. We're killing these waves a lot faster. There goes my Fate armor, by the way. It sucks to just lose it on a weak hit like that, but oh well. For this build, by the way, we're going for a lot of crit, and then range and attack speed afterwards, if we can. We need to make it to 100% crit. After that, we can keep going crit, but we don't have to. At that point, I would rather pick up range and attack speed. Oh man, there's just way too many things I need to explain. Something important to remember is that you can open up this menu here. It's V by default, or whatever is on this button here, and then you can go to your Kingdom tab, and you can upgrade any owned buildings just from this menu. That won't really matter right now, but for example, like right at the beginning of the game, if you have meta progression that gives you starting gold, I would recommend just upgrading your mine immediately. Also, what is going on? I think some jungle enemies followed my miners back to base. They're not going to do enough damage that it's a problem, though, and the base has its own turret that will kill them, so it's fine. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get the second gold mine going. We want to get economy going pretty quickly. And then it is night, so we will have to deal with the night wave again soon. I think we have a little bit of time to get this camp real quick, though. And then I need to remember to start using more of my abilities. It's hard to remember everything that I need to explain at the same time, and then also all of the new abilities that I'm unlocking. By the way, what I did right there is that the first ability of this hero, the first time you press it, you will throw down a javelin, and you can leave that javelin down permanently. And then, the second time you hit it, you'll teleport back to it. So I was able to basically like make a checkpoint for myself over here and come back to it later when I was ready. The one downside to this, however, is that you do not get any energy regen during this time, and your power strike will always use energy. So you kind of give up your ability to use the power strike, but you get really good map mobility in exchange. At first, I kind of thought that, like, they should remove they should change it so you can regen energy, but I think it's actually a worthy trade-off. Because no other character can do anything like that. You do have portals that you can unlock in the jungle to help you move around, but no character can really do it innately this well, other than this one. I think it gives him some of his identity. This is going to be really good for the build. We're stacking Arcane Amplifier, and you can already see that this is at a 2.7 stun duration bonus. It's actually kind of ridiculous how good this is. I don't think it's too overpowered, but it's definitely good if you see it. More auto attack range, nice. That's the thing we want to see most. That, it's not going to be too apparent just yet, but the more range we see, or the more range we get, the more apparent it will be. So basically, every time I auto attack, you can think of it as... Oh, let me get out of this. Damage over time effect on the ground. So basically, every time I auto-attack, if I auto-attack here, for example, it will draw a line from my max attack range back to my character, and it will damage everything in that line. So basically, by stacking auto-attack range, I increase the AoE that I deal on Night Waves. I'm gonna get to a point where we can just blend the Night Waves, hopefully. It is going to It is going to be based partially on how lucky we get. Ah, by the way, I messed up something. I got the portal here, but I never picked up the portal from over here. Let's see, what do we have recall available? We do, but I don't think it's really much of a difference. I don't think it's much of a difference, in how far I have to run. I'll pop my potion here to get some extra speed as well. But yeah, you have a recall basically that will send you back to your base. You have to unlock this through meta progression, and you also have to basically level it up so it's faster. The base cooldown on it is very long. The reason why I really wanted to get over here before nighttime came around is... So these aren't going to be randomly generated, like I said at the beginning, but these maps, or these extra buildings that are around the map, can be very powerful, especially this one in particular, the Iron Mine. So we're going to get the Iron Mine, we're going to unlock the Shardsmith Guild, and then we're going to start leveling up this Crimson Ore upgrade right here. Shardsmith Guild building now proposes higher tier shards for each upgrade of this. I almost think that this is in the range of being a little too overpowered for being like a map mechanic that you can only roll into sometimes. But I don't know, it's hard to say. One of the other map mechanics is that you can do the same thing for potions, which is also very, very strong. Especially if you... There's a specific potion build you can go that is very powerful right now. You can get some crazy stats on potions. And then a lot of the other buildings I haven't really messed around with too much. The other buildings are like... There will be a building type for different types of minions that you can improve a lot more heavily than normal. I honestly really haven't... We'll pick this up, by the way. This is going to give a lot of extra HP regen during night waves, and it might be relevant later for an EXP farm I show off. Also, you can find this guy around the map somewhere. He'll sell you an artifact. I don't think I really... This isn't bad by any means, but if I get to the point where I'm just lifestealing back to max constantly, it won't really be active. And I also want to save my money. Oh, I messed up. Okay, now before night rolls over, I need to make sure and buy these shards right away, because they're about to reset when the day count increases. Or I mean when the night ends, I don't know. Either way probably works. But you can see we get a lot of stats for these. The downside is that buying these and getting the upgrade for the Iron Forge is very expensive. So you do take a hit to like other things you would level up, but really I would much rather make my hero overpowered than have better minions. I'd rather just like solo the bosses and stuff. Unfortunately, we're getting... we don't need tactical... I mean, we can use the tactic amplifier for... Is that really only 11 flat speed? Ugh, I can't speak. 11 flat speed? If that is, that's really bad. The potion cooldowns will be pretty useful, though. For now, we're just going to pick up the auto attack range, though. With every auto attack range buff, we get more and more powerful in terms of clearing out night waves. And then we also get a lot safer. You can end up playing this game, or you can end up playing this character like a ranged hero pretty easily. Obviously, if you just play the archer class, they'll scale with range even better, but this hero does scale well with range. We could be getting auto attack damage as well. I'm not sure. These are actually all pretty good options. I like having some speed to get around the map faster, and then we also get arcane amplifiers from this as well. Having a second or two of invisibility will also kind of just let us take camps without much risk of dying. I wonder if we can take this yet. This is like the max difficulty of regular jungle camps. There are also jungle bosses we can fight, but this is the max of normal camps. It looks like we're pretty strong too. Let me actually get the... We have this T ability that I haven't talked about yet. I haven't actually had a chance to talk about any of the abilities we selected. Basically, what we have on R right now is called Battle Flare. It gives us extra attack damage when we're in the range of it. And then, due to one of the evolutions I took at the beginning, I'm able to have the passive for it that it will follow me around. This isn't too necessary. If you're really good at the game, you can actually micro the Battle Flare radius and just keep moving it around. But it's much easier if you just take the passive that follows you. And then our second ability on T is basically just like a target dummy that enemies will attack instead of me. Do I want auto attack speed is really good, but I think range is even more important. I know it's hard to pass up on the epic shard, but more range equals more good. You'll see why as we start, even like as we do the next night wave, you'll see how much better I am at clearing out the night wave than I was previously. Let me make sure. I've got my siege workshop for the extra income here, in case I didn't mention that. I've gotten both of my miners set up. I want to get these towers, though. Some of my miners are probably dying, so we'll do that next. After I kill this camp. Let me also check. I think I've cleared out most of the camps around here. You can see where jungle camps are by... It's really hard to see, but there's a small orange dot on the map. That will be an unclaimed stat shard, which will usually mean that there's a camp there. Sometimes you will find stat shards that are just free. They don't have any camp. But most of the time, if you see one of those on the map, it will mean there's a jungle camp there. I'd really like to see them add an icon for jungle camps that shows that a camp is there and then grays out after you have cleared it. So I'll kill this camp and then maybe go to the tower here and restore that, and then go and get everything I need back here. Once we hit 1200 gold as well, I will be able to get the last upgrade for our shards. That way we get... Ooh, 70% attack speed, nice! The lifesteal would be nice, but I can't pass up the chance on attacking faster. I always, really liked going full attack speed builds in MOBAs. There's just something about the dopamine rush. Honestly, any game that lets me build attack speed. I don't know why, but it just gives me so much dopamine seeing real fast attack speed. Okay, so by the way, what's happening right now is as you go into higher ages, there will be just basically elemental disasters that happen. So right now, there are fire meteors raining down that I have to watch out for and dodge. But also, these elemental disasters will affect the enemy. So if I can get the enemy camp here to run over one of these fire things... Why didn't I get the burn debuff? That's weird. It did run over the fire, right? I swear it did. Huh. Maybe the I thought the fire applied burn. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, important thing to take out of that is that you can use the elemental disasters as a benefit for you, as well as just them being something that you have to avoid by just luring them onto the enemies. Or luring the enemies onto, like, where their AoE is, for this example. I should pop my potions and see if I can kill this quickly. Unfortunately, we triggered a Blood Moon, which gave it some health back. Speed or auto-attack speed? Definitely auto-attack speed. So now, I think we're gonna do something, here. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before, but just in case I didn't. The first ability of this hero is that you can throw down a javelin and teleport back to it later. Oh, we're, ways farther than I wanted it to be, but I think we still have a little bit of time to do this. Honestly, I might not teleport back here. I don't think I'm gonna get back there in time for it to be worth it. So what I can do instead is I can hold the Q button and recall the javelin to get my energy regen back. Oh yeah, definitely. It's much better for me to just get up here. They will kill protection gates very quickly, by the way, as you start going harder in difficulty. Okay, so now, I mentioned this before, but it's much easier to showcase now. So like I said before, when this character does his auto attacks, it's drawing a line from the character to the edge of the range here. I hit everything in between there. This works for power strikes as well. But the build doesn't focus on power strikes as much as it focuses on auto attacks. I really wanted to make a build that was just pure auto attacking. And you can see that now that we've gotten the range upgrades, we've shred through these waves pretty nicely. Unfortunately, they're gonna kill some of my miners here, but I think we're fine. We need to go into here and buy the last Crimson Ore before it turns daytime. I wonder if it's worth it to even... I would have to spend 400 to get this building, and then I would have to get another 100 to get taxed, which gives me extra gold every morning. I think for now, I will just save the money, that way I can buy the shards immediately, and then maybe I'll go for the tax next. If we get at least decent rolls on... okay, do we want Battle Flare Radius, or... We definitely want the stun. That's another 2.4 seconds. So we have like a... We have a 4-second stun here, and a... And then we're gonna have a 2-second stun here. The only problem with the stun on the E ability is a little bit harder to land. You have to hit, like, just at the right range, I think is how it works, for it to pull them and stun them. Otherwise it just deals damage. Can we do something a little... Is the lightning not hitting them? I swear the lightning hit them. Yeah, there we go. So the lightning hit them, and it put the debuff on for us. So now you can see that they're taking max HP per second. So with the fire and the lightning ones in specific, if you can get these onto enemies, it is very beneficial to you. Because the fire and the thunder debuffs and the bleed debuff are all really overpowered right now. More crit chance, nice. Martial balance is also really, really extremely broken if you can keep your amplifiers balanced. Or if you start with this, you can just pick up no amplifiers, and you're basically strong enough at the start of the run that you can beat the final boss. It is really disgustingly overpowered. So probably, if you want to do that, do it now before it gets nerfed. I would assume that's one of the things that is strong enough that it would warrant a nerf, even in a single-player game. Ooh, another 2 seconds of invincibility, or invisibility. Invisibility is kind of weird. Enemies won't, like, target you directly with attacks, but I've had them still just kind of, like, randomly use attacks when I was attacking them while invisible. That's a lot of rage amp, but unfortunately, this is a really big auto attack damage modifier, actually. Wow. That would give us a bunch of extra damage when we go to do the final area, but it's not useful right now. I guess our stun does also scale off of the rage amp as well. Yeah, let's take it. I know I could take the auto attack damage there, and it would be pretty strong. This is an auto attack image build, but weirdly enough, you don't, like, scaling your attack damage isn't actually mandatory. It's still gonna scale pretty well. But it's also more of like an on-hit build, in terms of like what you would say of League of Legends. Though I think at some point, the attack damage and with the crit scaling does end up outscaling the on-hit damage. They really want to give us Rage Amplifier. We're gonna be doing insane damage when we go to the end boss area. Ooh, more attack speed. I'm saving my rerolls for when we do the jungle bosses, by the way. That's why I'm not using them now. I really want range on those shards. So I think they're purple rarity. Let's see if we got lucky on our shops or not. We got attack speed, more rage amplifier, and movement speed. I don't know what's been going on. The past, like, 3 times I've tried to do this build, I just don't get range at all from the shards there. If you get lucky enough with shards, or you keep scaling the run long enough, you can get to the point of where you're at, like, 2k, 3k, even keep going higher in range. You can get to some crazy ranges, even though this is supposed to be more of a melee hero. Ooh, auto attack range. Nice. I guess I never talked about these. This was one of the meta progression upgrades as well. You get a bonus to help out your town. How often you get the bonuses is based on how much you've upgraded the meta progression. I don't want to use either of these. I can just not power strike the boss, I guess, to not apply burn. Bleeding would just make the run way too easy. I mean, honestly, there's really not that much difficulty left in the run at this point. But even then... Can I... Maybe we'll shift on what we're gonna do today because of this. Let's clear out the last camp here, and then go do the jungle boss, and then maybe we'll go to the end game area. Let me see something. Yeah, I never picked up the gold mine over here. That was a bit of a mistake, but also I don't think I really needed it. I got up to the... Ooh, more attack range. Thank you. I got up to the maxed out Shardsmith on a pretty early day count, which is what you want to do. The faster you can start getting those stat bonuses going, the better you're going to be. Really, in my experience with this game, it's definitely going to be different depending on how you do your builds and stuff, but I feel like usually if I'm going to lose, it's going to be because I didn't scale well enough in the first or second night. And then after that, it's usually like I can outscale whatever the game is sending at me. I do need to be a little bit careful with this boss, though. Those barrels that he is throwing there will one-shot me. I do have Fate Armor, which will block a hit, But if I get hit without the Fate Armor, I will get one shot. Which is kind of a problem as you go into the higher difficulties with the melee heroes. It starts to become really hard to survive, especially early on. I'm sure there's like some tank builds that we're yet to find, or that I just haven't found yet. But even with like tank builds, the problem is like you still need the scaling. You don't get tanky just from the beginning of the round. And if you can't... Look at that damage bonus, by the way. When I pop Battle Flare and use both of my potions, I do so much damage. I guess we're going for Rage Amplifier memes. Actually, no, I said I wanted to reroll these. I don't really care about Fate Armor that much anymore. It'd be good early, but we have so much range that the Fate Armor doesn't really matter as much anymore. Legendary Speed. Aw, man. Ooh, yes! Legendary range upgrade! Now we're up to 2k range! I don't care about either of these, but I'm not gonna reroll it, because we still have another boss to fight in the jungle, I mean. So here's another thing you have to pay attention to. At the start of each day, until you've killed these mini boss slayers, or these jungle boss slayers, there will be new, there will be a couple new minions that spawn and will kill your miners. Now I'm going to pick up the Tamer's Paddock and the stable here. This will allow me to use a mount to get around the map faster. I could be using my javelins to get around the map a lot more efficiently as well. That's something it's gonna take more time playing the hero to get used to, and then also doing commentary on top of playing. It just makes you a lot worse at the game and makes you forget about a lot of things that you wouldn't normally. It's just kinda how it works. I probably why did I use my potions on that one dude? Auto attack speed would be nice, but we still haven't hit 100% crit. Okay, now's actually a perfect time. Right before we... I swear my cursor was over the wall there. I've been having that happen a lot. I don't know if I'm just misclicking because my old man hands suck, or if something's a little bit weird with it. Okay, but anyways. Our build basically works by the sealed evolutions that we took. We don't really actually need most of the stuff I picked up during the run. That's just a bonus. So the first evolution we took is Burning Flow, which makes it where Battle Flare gives us a movement speed bonus and follows us around as it's active. Battle Flare is giving us a huge damage bonus, by the way, because we've been stacking... we actually have more Rage Amplifier than Arcane, but if you get more lucky with stuff, you can get up to like 100 plus Arcane by the end of the run. But anyways, even with just the 40, our base attack damage is 88, and Battle Flare is giving us a bonus 250. So we get a huge damage bonus with this. On top of that, our crits from auto attacks also deal an extra 200 frost damage, which is scaling with our Arcane Amplifier as well. So not only are we getting an attack damage bonus from here, our attacks are also dealing bonus AoE off of the same amplifier. And then, I took the Comet because it also scales off of Amplifier. It's not as important, and then this skill is just for tanking a little bit. Honestly, it's not really that needed in late game, so you could switch it out if you wanted. I just like it for the tanking early game. So now, if I pop Battle Flare, unfortunately I don't have both of my potions up, but we will still become a lawnmower regardless. Look at how far away I auto-attack stuff, and like I said before, it kills everything in between, so we can just delete Night Waves. That Night Wave did not stand a chance at all, and it's only going to get more and more ridiculous from here on. I don't need to worry about staying and killing those. So now we'll probably rush to the first boss. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really need to do before the next night. Maybe we'll grab the antique market and the tax so we get a little bit of... Yeah, we'll still get a pretty good income bonus when the day turns over. You can't really do this as much once you start getting the... I'm trying to remember what the... Oh, they're distortions. One of the distortions will make it where you get taxed at the start of night. So it's harder to use this income tax like you would be able to otherwise. That's something you have to watch out for. Let's see, actually. We'll pop the battle flare here, and now we'll actually use both potions. Yeah, she's getting deleted. I think this build is really good. It doesn't rely on some of the more cheesy stuff either. I feel like it's more of a genuine build, which is just a me thing. I mean, that's not necessarily just a me thing, it's preference. What you find cheesy in a single-player game is completely up to you. If you want to abuse... debuffs, then go ahead. I think I explained that early on in the run, but just in case I didn't, what's wrong with debuffs right now is that Burn and Thunder are both 1% max HP damage. So even if you get just one of them... Oh, okay, we got a legendary potion here, which can copy our hero. I want to see if this does anything, because it never did anything on the ranged hero. But anyways, Burn and Thunder debuff both deal... Oh, I restored the portal. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I wanted to get this portal for the quest before the day turned over. Did I? I didn't get Altars of Powers. That's gonna hurt my... Actually, I think I still have time. Let's put a Javelin here. We're gonna recall, and then maybe pick up these two. But anyways, back again to what... Burn and Thunder both do 1% max HP. So, if you have both of them on at the same time, it's better. But even with just one of them, you will always kill any boss at the same speed, regardless of how high you scale the difficulty, and how much extra HP that boss gets. It's a real issue that you can kill the max difficulty boss in the exact same time as the easiest difficulty of boss. And on top of that, the burning is also a little, like, over-tuned to where it kills the bosses too quickly, especially once you start stacking them. Bleed, on the other hand, is 2% missing health damage. So, Bleed is a little bit harder to use on its own if your build isn't strong otherwise. But if your build is decent, then Bleed will ramp up quickly. And what you can also do is you can run Burn or Thunder plus Bleed, or get all three of them. Even with two of them, bosses die extremely quickly, and with... Ooh, more range, by the way. And with all three, the bosses just don't stand a chance at all. Wow, these rolls suck. I mean, it's hard to complain about max HP, but the cooldown reduction doesn't really do anything. Oh, if you get this artifact, by the way, this artifact is perfect with this build. Critical strikes inflict 50% of damage dealt to every unit within a radius. It's basically just a copy of... it's a copy of the Frost effect that we have. Neither of these really matter too much, so I'll just take the radius on Frost Sentinel. If I was, like, upgrading my troops more, or maybe going a summoner build, I could have taken the Battle Flare upgrade there. And Battle Flare will apply to... What is Bastion? Is it just, yeah, it's just a couple random minions, not a big deal. But yeah, Battle Flare is really, really good for buffing if you're leveling up your minions or you're using there's a summoner build where you can summon your own minions. You can also purchase... Where is it? You can purchase the Tavern. I'll just show it off now, actually. We'll get the double mercenaries as well. I also forgot to pick up the Edict. Not like we really need them at this point. But yeah, what else do we need from here? Nothing really. We'll take that for stronger mercenaries. They're probably just gonna get one-shot anyways, to be honest. Oh, and I'm not really gonna get any mercenaries either, because I don't have the knights, the archers, or the monks, which would increase what mercenaries you're getting. But anyways, you can do this once per day. You can buy a little regiment of troops that follows you around. It's really good on lower difficulties, but it doesn't scale well into higher difficulties unless you're specifically trying to scale the troops, which you definitely can do. Like, let's see. These guys have 750 HP, and the enemy minions have 2,000. This sucks. I don't want any of this stuff. Yes, give me more range. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go around and pick up all the stuff on the map again. We'll do the next night wave afterwards, and then we'll go ahead and do the boss fight. But there's gonna be a jump cut here while I go ahead and farm the rest of the map and wait for nighttime. Wait, what is happening? What? What is... Huh? Why is my auto attack cleaving like that all of a sudden? I'm so confused. I swear it never did that before. It's not my, What? It's not the cleave that I picked up from crits, because that doesn't have nearly that much range or look like that. That is weird. Anyways, I'll see you guys back in a little bit. Alright, it is now nighttime. I went around and got the... Oh, I guess I forgot an alternate power here, but honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter. We are way, way strong at this point. Oh, it's so weird seeing a spear character auto-attack from full screen. Okay, so now we're gonna go for the big combo. Well, let's throw it on the... We'll throw it on the thing to taunt them real quick, and then... Okay, I wanted to see if you could actually put potions on during the pause screen, but you can't. But anyways, we put on Battle Flare, we pop both of our potions, and we become a lawnmower. Why is my clone cleaving like that, though? I don't know if that's just a visual bug, or if it's an actual cleave range. It looks hilarious, whatever it is. Come on, more range. Actually, I'll take more auto attack speed. Or we could just cap our crit at 100. We don't really need to, though. By the way, you can overcrap... Not overcrap. You can overcap crit in this game. So, for example, if you have 100% crit chance, you'll auto attack and you will always crit once. But if you have 150% crit chance, you will always crit, and then you'll have a second chance, or you'll have a 50% chance to crit again for additional damage. That's how it works in this game, by the way. It's a cool thing to keep in mind, because you can go really high crit damage builds. I think we've played out the range meme enough. We pretty much attacked the entire night wave at once. So I think attack speed is much better at this point. One quick thing I'll show off while we wait for the day to pass over again so we can get our final stat boost. Also, I'm actually surprised these guys are still alive. Maybe they scale a little bit better than I thought they did. But anyways, this is a Crystal Tomb. You can go ahead and do these in the final area in order to prevent the enemies from gaining an extra level. Enemies gain an extra level every day. And then, if you go past day 7, you will not get any respawns on any of your buildings here, like the Sacred Shrines, the Wisdom Trees, and the Altar of Powers. And then also, for every day, the enemy scaling will start increasing very quickly exponentially. So if you're going to like actually see how far you can survive, it's fine. It's like a pseudo survival mode. But if you're trying to win, you really want to win by night 7. You don't want to keep letting the game go on longer than that. Realistically, if you're playing efficiently and your build is good, you can win by day 3, day 4 pretty easily. I don't want either of these, by the way. I don't want to apply Burn or Hemorrhage to the boss, because it's just gonna auto-kill him, basically. So, unfortunately, we won't get any... We won't be able to see any of the other level up bonuses either, but we don't need them at this point, honestly. But anyways, how you're supposed to do these is you're supposed to pick up these orbs on the ground, which I still want to do. I want to pick them up until it gets to around 30, and then the enemies will start spawning, like, right here. You can see that now enemies spawn much faster than before. Why is my clone cleaving? Also, I don't know where I am. Oh god. The clone was, like, hitting so much of the screen that I completely lost where my character was. But anyways, what you do here is you just EXP farm. All of these kills give EXP, and since there's so many enemies spawning, you get a lot of EXP very- Look at my EXP gain! Holy cow! But anyways, yes. Very fast EXP spawn, or very fast EXP gain here. And then, you can unlock more artifacts for your meta progression. So, like I said before, it's definitely possible to get 100 plus amps, even without... There's some cheesy methods of really farming amps if you really want to. But even just with the Shardsmith and full clearing the map, you do get pretty high scalings. Anyways, Battle Flare's at 460 damage. Comet is at almost 1800 damage. This has 4k health from our Rage Amps that we got. And then we're at 130% crit chance, 3000 range. The Frost Power Strike's doing an additional 300 damage. So that's... I don't think, yeah, this might not be as vital to the build as I thought it was. But it is some extra early AoE damage, so I don't think it's a bad idea running the build this way. But if you were able to run something different than Frost, you could maybe get something that upgrades your attack or your attack speed even more. Or even just run something for better early survivability. Because really past early survivability, you should scale pretty well. If you're playing efficiently enough, which is something you have to get used to. Don't be too upset about it if you can't, like, clear out the map as quickly as I did. I could have honestly, like, even been a lot more efficient here, but I think for, like, giving a first view of the game, it's definitely good enough. I feel like there was something else. Oh, yeah, the only other thing I wanted to say is that, keep in mind I had like a million things to explain during this video, so if things seemed kinda chaotic or like I got sidetracked and missed certain things at times, I do apologize, but just like I said, keep in mind there's a million things I had to try and explain all in a single video. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more of this game, I will definitely be happy to show off more characters, more builds, and everything. I am completely in love with this game. I would recommend it if you're a MOBA fan that is looking for more of a single-player experience. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.